Welcome to India Inside, the GCC Advantage. This deep dive is brought to you by the CoreBridge GCC Desk.
We work directly with multinational corporations and with Indian leaders to really optimize those crucial cost-to-value outcomes right here in India's massive global capability center landscape.
So if you are a CXO, a global head of strategy, or just someone trying to navigate this complexity, we've designed this show to cut through the noise and give you actionable insights.
And we'd love it if you'd follow the show. It really does help us.
It does. So today we're undertaking a really critical deep dive into something that's, it's fundamentally changing how global corporations see India.
That's right. The title says it all. The cost-to-value equation. How state policies in Tier 2 cities are redefining GCC ROI.
And for the longest time, for maybe 2 decades, that conversation around India's GCCs was pretty simple arithmetic, wasn't it? It was just about labor cost saving.
It was. But that model is... well, it's dead.
Completely. That fundamental question for global leaders has profoundly shifted. It's no longer, how cheap can we make this?
No, now it's how capable, how strategically vital can this center become to our global innovation engine?
Exactly. So our mission today is to really unpack that new strategic core. We want to understand how these aggressive state policies, this expansion into vibrant Tier 2 ecosystems.
And just the maturity of the talent pool itself. How all of that is completely redefining the return on investment framework for choosing India. It's truly a value story now.
Anchored by capability. I like that. So let's start with that strategic shift. If we look back even 10 years, the whole strategy was labor arbitrage.
Right. The goal was simple. Get a 30 to 40% lower operational cost compared to, say, North America or Western Europe. It was all about migrating processes.
Now,
India's GCCs they're transforming into pure value hubs. They are delivering core innovation, R&D mandates, advanced product engineering, and critically driving AI transformation for the parent company.
So the work itself has changed. It's not the work that was being offshored a decade ago.
Not at all. And the numbers really back this up.
Give us the data. What supports this move from a cost center to a strategic hub?
Okay, so the NASSCOM Zinoff beta from 2024 is pretty clear. India's GCC market is now valued at a massive $65 billion US.
$65 billion.
And it's still growing robustly, at an 11 to 12% KGR. This isn't just headcount growth. It's because the value output is increasing.
Which means, for any decision makers listening, if you're still just assessing your GCC on headcount and OpEx reduction, you're missing the point. The metrics have to change.
They absolutely have to. Global leaders need to focus on what we call the new metrics. So first, you look at innovation output.
Meaning what exactly?
How many patents are being filed globally from that Indian center? How many new centers of excellence are being set up for things like blockchain or quantum computing?
That completely shifts the goalposts. An increase in patents is now the real win, not just an increase in headcount. What's the second metric?
Capability complexity. This means the center isn't just executing processes anymore, whether that's finance or basic coding.
They're owning it.
Exactly. They're owning the full end-to-end delivery of a product or service.
No.
They own the entire life cycle.
And the third, which I think is probably the most strategically vital.
It has to be strategic alignment. The GCCs are no longer just supporting headquarters. They are co-owning global product and technology roadmaps.
So they're in the room where it happens, deciding what the company builds next.
Right. And that structural integration is profound. It's why nearly half of all new GCC mandates are now focused on R&D and digital transformation, not just back office support.
India's GCC is the engine room now, not just the administrative office.
And that moves us into the economics of this. We can see why India's value-to-cost ratio is still superior, even as salaries go up globally. It's all about talent cost versus capability gain.
Okay, so give us the hard comparison. This is where the CXO calculus really begins.
Let's take a mid-level software engineer. In a Tier 1 city in India, that's about, say, $22 an hour. But if you locate in a Tier 2 city, that drops to around $18 an hour. Now compare that to Eastern Europe, where it's about $35 an hour for a similar skill set.
That's a huge difference. We're talking nearly a 40% saving right off the bat. But let me challenge that. Are you sacrificing quality for that saving? Is the talent the same?
That's the old question, isn't it? And the answer today is a firm no. We're talking about engineers in India who are building AI models, designing full-stack architecture, orchestrating global product releases.
So the most complex work.
The most complex work. The cost is lower, But the value is maximized because the talent density is just massive and highly skilled.
Which brings us to the hidden layer of value, the economics of Tier 2 cities.
Absolutely. When we say total cost of operations, TCO, we're not just talking payroll. It's real estate, utilities, local taxes, all of it.
And the TCO advantage in Tier 2 is what?
It's a solid 35 to 40% lower compared to the metros or even major European hubs.
The real killer for ROI is attrition. High turnover just erases any productivity gains.
Precisely. And this is the Tier 2 superpower. Attrition rates in these ecosystems are consistently low, around 8 to 12%.
Which is world-class.
It is. Now compare that to the metros, where it can easily be 20 to 25%.
For a 500-person center, that difference is massive. You're saving 75 hires a year, and you're keeping all that institutional knowledge.
It translates directly into strategic value. Longer employee tenure means higher cumulative productivity. It's a critical, often ignored part of the ROI calculation.
So we have the talent, the lower TCO, the stability. But what really accelerates the whole thing, what shortens that break-even period, are the state policies.
This is what we call the policy multiplier effect. State incentives have evolved. They aren't just tax breaks anymore. They're strategic enablers. They directly attack the biggest barriers, upfront CapEx and initial OpEx.
So let's break down the policies. Let's start with Gujarat. What are they doing?
Gujarat's policy for 2025 to 2030 is really comprehensive. They offer strong operational expense support at 25% reimbursement for rent, bandwidth, and cloud expenses.
That's huge for quarterly cash flow when you're scaling up. What about talent?
They've got payroll incentives, up to $1,200 per employee annually. But more strategically, they're supporting innovation. 75% of patent filing costs are reimbursed.
A clear signal that they value R&D output.
And they are actively pushing companies towards Tier 2 clusters like Vadodara and Surat with special incentives.
Which helps companies tap into that lower attrition pool we just talked about. Okay, now let's compare that to Madhya Pradesh. I hear they're being very aggressive.
They are. Their 2024 policy is extremely front-loaded. They offer 50% reimbursement on eligible payroll in year one.
50% in the first year. That must dramatically cut the initial risk.
It significantly de-risks the investment. They also offer CapEx grants up to 25% for infrastructure.
And their innovation support.
This is probably the most compelling part. 100% reimbursement for filing costs for up to 3 patents per firm.
So Gujarat is 75%, MP is 100%. These aren't just bureaucratic policies, they're tools to accelerate profitability.
Exactly. They shorten the time to get to a positive cash flow.
Okay, so theory is great, but let's make this tangible. Walk us through a real-world example where this all came together.
Absolutely. This is a case right from our CoreBridge consulting desk. A major Japanese consumer electronics firm needed to consolidate their global design and analytics functions. Their shortlist was Thailand, Poland, and India.
And they ended up choosing Indore in Madhya Pradesh. Why did a Tier 2 city in central India win out?
Well, the Indore advantage was multifaceted. First, the TCO was calculated to be 38% lower than Krakow, Poland, and that was before incentives.
Okay.
Second, they got access to a high-quality Tier 2 talent pool and immediately partnered with the local IIT Indore.
And then came the policy multiplier.
That was the kicker. The MP policy incentives cut their initial setup and ramp-up costs by a clean 20%.
So what were the actual results, let's say, within 30 months?
Within 30 months, they had a 400-member R&D center of excellence. They filed 3 design patents, all fully reimbursed. And critically, they cut time to market for 2 of their core product lines by 25%.
And what about retention, the stability piece?
Attrition held steady at a low 9%. The key takeaway for them was that the project redefined their internal metrics. They went from measuring cost savings to measuring innovation output per dollar.
That's the strategic difference right there. And it leads us right into how CoreBridge helps reframe this ROI. Our 2024 India Cost of Value Benchmark Report identifies 5 key drivers.
And these are critical for any global leader. First is talent density in these emerging clusters. Is the pool deep enough to scale?
Not just available talent, but dense talent. Got it. What's number 2?
State support efficiency. It's not just the policy on paper, it's the speed of access. Is it seamless or bureaucratic? The friction really matters.
Third is infrastructure, which is kind of table stakes now, right?
It is, but we measure infrastructure readiness strategically, 5G maturity, data centers, power grid stability. Can it support 247 global ops?
Fourth.
Innovation ecosystem maturity. How strong are the links to local startups and universities? Is there a culture of IP creation?
And the fifth, which we keep coming back to, the retention index.
It's fundamental. This measures the long-term stability of your core talent. All these factors together help you achieve a lower cost per unit of innovation, not just a lower cost per employee.
And if we put India up against the global alternatives using this framework,
The proposition is just superior. Take a 500-person operation. The TCO in a Tier 2 city in India is about $10 to $12 million over 5 years.
and in Poland,
You're looking at 16 to 18 million.
a $4 million difference minimum. What about the time to get that money back?
It's faster in India. The ROI timeline is about 3 years versus 4 in Poland, driven by those policy incentives. And India's innovation output index is consistently rated high, while competitors are often moderate.
So India is outperforming on cost, on time to value, and on policy-anchored resilience.
Which brings us to 2 hidden value layers for CXOs. First, the time to scale advantage. A GCC in India can be fully operational in 6 to 9 months.
Compared to what, 12 to 18 months elsewhere?
Easily, because the regulatory frameworks are clear and the infrastructure is ready to go.
And the second hidden layer.
The growing importance of ESG. New policies are aligning sustainability with business incentives, green building reimbursements, for example. These are hard financial gains that factor into modern ROI.
It makes the whole value proposition holistic. Better for the balance sheet, better for the planet, and better for talent.
Exactly.
So let's synthesize this for the strategic decision maker listening. What are the key takeaways from this deep dive?
Okay, 4 things. First, you have to think total value, not total cost. The real value is in speed, innovation, and resilience.
Second, utilize state incentives as strategic enablers. They're not just bonuses. They are tools designed to slash your CapEx and OpEx and accelerate your ROI.
Third, invest strategically in Tier 2 ecosystems. They offer the best balance of low attrition, high productivity, and cost-effective scaling.
And finally, measure innovation ROI. Evaluate success based on patents, product enhancements, and transformations, not just cost per employee.
India's GCC story really shows that while cost might be the entry point, strategic value is absolutely the destination.
If you are looking to design your end-to-end India entry plan, we invite you to connect with the CoreBridge GCC Desk for a deeper engagement. You can also explore our curated resources and policy insights linked in the description.
And join us next time as we tackle a critical operational challenge, how global leaders are successfully managing hybrid GCC teams and navigating the geopolitics of capability sourcing.
We look forward to helping you shape the next decade of global capability leadership from India. And please follow this show. It really does help.
Thank you for joining us on India Inside, the GCC Advantage.
This program is a production of CoreBridge. All rights reserved. The views expressed are those of the individuals and do not necessarily reflect the views of CoreBridge or its affiliates.